Alright, so now what we can do is remove this box with motherboard and power supply. It actually has one screw over here and most of them in the front, but let's just move that one. So now you have a couple of them holding to the front. Everything you see here on the front has to be pretty much removed. That's 1, 2. They're quite tight, so you have to this plastic part will also come out, and you have a couple of them from below. It's actually quite hard to notice, but if you're doing the repairs or conversions for quite some times, you already know where to search. There's 1, there's 2. So basically we already unscrewed 6 screws just to get the power supply off. And there you have it. This can be used for various repairs regardless of what the printer will be used for. And now we have to remove this metal part and this shaft. So there's some work to unscrew that all. So you see we already, around this part we already removed 6, and there's 3 more on the rear side. And this is also the part which will have to be cut later, because in this part over here the table from the flatbed is passing. And also this motor has to be removed, fixed with three screws, one on the side, 2 on the back, and below the motor there's also one hidden screw which we need to get to in order to remove this metal part over here. So we got that off, and there's one more screw beneath it. And this one is actually pretty tight. The screwdriver is skipping a thread. Alright, so now we should be able to remove it. There you have it. And now, since we're gonna be cutting everything might not be bad to put the front metal part back, but let's just first see if we can remove the main shaft. So we have to spin this white part a bit to get it out. Okay, and we have to remove this ring. I don't know what's really the technical term for it, but you get the point. Something is... oh, we didn't remove this sprocket or gear, however you want to call it. It's removed like this. There's also one piece that's securing it inside there, so let's see if we can get it out now. Not quite. This plastic part is still holding it inside. So how you release that? You just unscrew this and you have the mark on this plastic part to what teeth the distance should be set. So we will return it back to its position. Now we removed the shaft and put the teeth back in its place. Get that back because that's the part we're actually gonna be using. So now we can put this back. Actually, we could have put that piece earlier back because we only removed the shaft through this part, and so this could be mounted in order to have some sturdiness, not to twist anything when we are dismantling the chassis. But it will be as good time as any. We got that back, and we're gonna put this back inside. So if there's any problem with fitting, you can lift the shaft manually with turning this sprocket, but as you can see, it fitted in without any problem, so we won't be doing that for now. So we got that fixed over there. Well, what else can we do? We can remove a couple of pieces over here on the right side. This is the piece that was holding the main shaft inside, so we don't need that no more. We'll pull it out. So now we have a couple of more pieces over here inside the pump. So actually, to get to them, we will have to remove the pump for the time being. to clean that up. And maybe also if the chassis was used as maybe as a DTF or something like that, you can also clean the pump also. But now, as far as I can see, it is used pump, but it's pretty much clean because you don't have any residue on the capping station, or very little. So I think it's gonna be okay. Maybe we will just check out the wiper to see if everything is okay with the wiper, because it could be that some residue is stick to the wiper. So we're gonna clean that up also, because anyways we have to dismantle the pump to get everything right and in order. So you've seen how the pump is removed in those other videos, but now you can check out one more time, maybe get a different perspective, or see how things are done from different angle. Okay, so we got that out. Actually, we don't need this part, just it's only in the way. Of course, if you can clean something around the mechanism, be sure to do it, and maybe clean the pipes and whatever you see that can be cleaned. Like, for example, there's just a bit of rubberized ink over here, but other than that it's pretty good shape. And let's just see in what state the wiper is. So you see there is some residue or rubberized ink over there, so sure, go ahead and clean that up. You can, if it doesn't go, but it's probably a DTF ink. It's not that sticky, but if it sticks somehow inside, you can use a bit of alcohol to remove that. But actually this makes the head clean not so good if you have this stick to the wiper. So let's just check the from below. Of course, let me just see if everything's okay over here. So now there's a bit more of ink everywhere here, so we're gonna clean that up also. Be sure to do it also if you run into something like this, because the less ink you have on the pump, the better. We will actually clean that up later in detail. We won't bother you now with the cleaning. The most ink we have to get out, we already got out. Let's get back for a moment to the chassis. There's this plastic part that's in the way and it's not useful, so we're gonna remove that as well. It's a bit tricky, but let me just there. So this is actually not something that we're gonna use. So if you see some ink over here on this part, be sure to clean that up. And now when we clean up the pipe, the pump and this part here, we will put all of this back together, and we will cut this rear part over here and over here. We won't be bothering you with that, how that is done. These are our two chassis, the old one which was slowing down during the print, and the new one which we disassembled for replacement of that one. So now what we have to do, this head installed on the old one seems to be okay in the print, but we have to check it with manual cleaning. So we will clean that head up a bit and then move it to the new chassis or a replacement chassis, and also we're gonna check if there's some air in the cartridges. We'll push that out so we can have as less air as possible in the system. So that's what we're gonna do next. So first we have to move this. You also you will see also here the head replacement for the 1400. So this is what has to be moved, and screws lifted up. Alright, so this is the first one. We will just set that aside for a moment so we can have more space. Now first we will remove this system. We have to release the brake. Remove this plastic part that holds the cables inside, and this is actually the tricky part. You have two hooks on each side on this contact holder. So this is how you do it. You release first the right one, then the left one, and you pop this out. Also 3 screws to be removed. And as you can see, it goes a bit hard because the ink from below has stick to the head. So it's this ink over here. You can also clean that up, but we won't be using this chassis no more. But usually it has to be this ink has to be cleaned, even if the chassis is 100% okay, because that will sooner or later that would make some problems in the print. So be sure to check that out and clean it there. So what we have to do is clean this residue around the head itself and sprinkle a bit of alcohol and clean it up from the inside. So that's what we're gonna do next. the box for the alcohol. We need the syringe. What else? We need a bit of a paper, so if there's any rubberized ink on the torn, especially with the white one, be sure to clean that off. Of course you cannot clean it perfectly, but whatever you can do to release or unclog the top of the torn is good. So I think this is quite good situation, because I've seen much worse. If there's some ink on the bottom of the torn, try to remove that as well. This one is very dry. There, we got that off. Also, if there's ink on the bottom of other torns, be sure to clean that off. And now, how you do manual cleaning? Usually you take a bit of an alcohol and pull it backwards to suck any residue inside the head. And I suppose that the white channels are clogged, but the printer is not used for white printing, so that really doesn't matter. What matter is that the CMYK channels are okay. So we've seen that the yellow is pretty good. That's the black, it's also quite okay. If there's any ink inside this, I don't know how to call it, tub maybe, you need to have paper towels beside you to pick that alcohol up. So that's the magenta and the cyan. As you can see, there are a bit maybe clogged, so it's good that we've done this before we do anything else to clean up ahead a little bit. So as you can see, the right white channel is clogged, the left could be working, but I don't think that's enough for any serious prints. But CMYK is okay, and that's what's most important for us now. Clean that alcohol a bit. Alright, and we have to clean this bottom side, which is a bit messed up, like this. Put some alcohol on the ink and then clean it off or scrape it off if there's no other way. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the better you scrape it off or clean it, the less ink would be attaching to that already part that stick before. Right, this one is pretty hard, but a little bit of scraping could do the trick. All right, we got that one out. So a little bit on this side, and we get that. Also a bit of an ink behind these hooks, but if you can't get that, that would be okay. The most important thing is that you scrape everything from below and the sides. So this is how the head should look usually. So we are ready to install this head to its new chassis. So let's put this old one aside for a moment. So that's the new one. And first, what you have to do is to plug in the cables. First the big one, then the small one, and as you can see, one cable is already in, and these two from the head go to the right of the cable that's already inside. Now you put the screws back, and you have to be careful not to destroy the threads. That means you have to go left first and then right. Once again we go left. You can hear a click when the screw falls into thread, and then you go right. So of course it's good to have magnetized screwdrivers. Left, right. Okay. And now we have to put the contacts. Actually, these are a bit of a there are some drips of ink on these contacts, so I think it's better to use the old ones because they are cleaner. I think everything is working with this one, but should be cleaned, and we don't have to do that right now because we have the clean ones. So we'll pick pick the one from the old chassis and put it inside instead of this one. Unplug that, and this is the old one, so it's, as you can see, it's a bit cleaner. Plug that in, put the board inside and put the plastic cable cover back. It has two hooks, right?